Hey, this is Notser, and this is the Tier 8 German battleship Tirpitz. It has 8 main guns, 28 secondary guns, 72 AA guns, 8 torpedoes, a top speed of 30.9 knots, total health 69,300. For my modules, reduced crit chance on main battery, increased main battery accuracy, reduced flood and fire chance, faster rudder shift. And for my commander, situational awareness, basic survivability, basic firing training, faster turret traverse, and lower cooldown on damage control. We are on the map Two Brothers. And we've chosen to hold the western flank. Now, we've got a friendly destroyer, and that's about it. Everyone else is headed east. They need to push, push, push. We are probably going to have to deal with more than 2 ships, most likely. It's a very bad strategy to only have 2 ships on a flank. Right now, there's an enemy destroyer capturing D, and we have a friendly destroyer attempting to stall the capture of D. If you noticed in my last video, the point was not being captured visibly in the world. You can see the UI is working perfectly there. I don't know what it was, but whatever. We've got an enemy aircraft and 2 torpedoes, 2 dive bombers, and an enemy fighter squadron incoming. This is not good. The Tirpitz is not built for this. We send out our 109 fighter to protect us. It's a recent change, and it's appreciated that they add a fighter. The AA is pretty crappy, so a fighter that can somewhat protect you is helpful. The enemy drops torpedoes, and we just don't get the butt out of the way in time. He takes out steering, causes flooding, and he sends out more torpedoes. But we can't adjust. We cannot use damage control. We have to take this. We take one, only one, and once the torpedo threat is gone, we use damage control, and we're going to try and avoid these torpedoes dropped by the enemy destroyer, which we are successful in our attempt to avoid damage. Now, as a battleship, it is important that you are able to be the backbone for your team on any flank. I prefer to be the one taking a lot of damage while my team is dishing it out. You don't want to be so far away that the enemy cannot engage you, in my opinion. We are being engaged by a couple of enemy battleships at long range. We cannot see them, but we know they're there. We have a couple friendlies that are trying to get in range of D, perhaps to engage enemies and start the decap, at least prevent them from benefiting from the ticks. We see an enemy Cleveland. He doesn't have a good angling on our particular position. I'm trying to hold my fire until he does. He's trying to angle towards a friendly cruiser that's engaging him. We have a couple of testers that have the German cruisers. For me personally, I really like to go through the process of earning them. You learn how to play them, and you're a better informed player, so I can better inform you. We do 8k damage to the enemy cruiser, and you can see the German cruisers right in front of me. Don't really think the German cruiser is going to be that fun, because it is slower than a Japanese or an American cruiser, and right now, cruisers don't really have a lot of power in the game. Their greatest weakness is battleships, and battleships have a ton of power, in my opinion. The friendly cruiser goes down, we try and fire on the Cleveland, and we lead him way too much. We only land 1 shot. Looks like he's going to take at least 1 torpedo. He's barely alive. The friendly German cruiser fires on his position, and I don't see an announcement of the Cleveland's death, so he's alive. He's running away. He's not going to engage. He's going to be at max range. We probably won't see him the rest of the game, most likely. Friendly destroyer way low, but this is not looking good. Couple battleships, we know at least a destroyer is in the area also, and there's got to be other stuff. There's got to be another cruiser. We can see what looks like 6 enemy ships on the eastern flank. So, about 6 ships. We've got the Cleveland obviously very low, so there's 5 ships in this area, probably. We fire on the enemy Colorado. Haven't played the Colorado since the changes. I'm curious to hear how it is exactly. I hope it's a better experience, because when I was playing it, it was the worst ship I have ever played. Bar none. Tier for tier, can't find a ship with a worse experience. Our front guns are reloaded, we're re-angling, we fire on the enemy Colorado just before he goes by the island, and we're able to incapacitate one of his guns. More aircraft! Most likely it's coming straight for me, I know it. Go after the battleship, go after the battleship. Well, I don't like this. So we're going to try and get this turnover before he's in range to drop his torpedoes. It's very dangerous to show the side of your ship to torpedo bombers, but if you can make sure that your front or aft is pointing towards them, it's much harder for them to have a successful torpedo strike. There's also the enemy destroyer. We're going to fire on his position while the enemy torpedo bombers are hovering overhead. It looks like the friendly cruiser has used defensive fire, so you can see the inaccuracy. Thank you. Of course, every cruiser can do that. Every cruiser should do that. There's no real reason to get the sonar. You don't get in that many situations where it's beneficial. So we're able to completely avoid easy torpedoes that were inaccurate because of the friendly German cruiser. Now, I don't know how much damage he's done. I don't know how effective the ship is. Oh, he took a big shot. He just took a citadel from something. But that's what I'm going to talk about later on in this video as bonus content. The German cruisers and how sluggish they are in turning. They're like smaller battleships, quite frankly. He is unfortunately completely wiped out. Hasn't done a lot. I don't blame him. He just got the ship. He didn't actually earn the ship, so he doesn't know the strengths. Especially with the current meta, where battleships seem to be the dominant force up here at high tiers. There's just too many of them with the premium ships, and there's not enough aircraft carriers to keep them in check. Same with destroyers. The two counters to the battleship, destroyers and aircraft carriers, are the least played classes. So we need to see the meta shift to a more balanced before cruisers really find their niche. I'm certainly having a lot of trouble in my New Orleans because it doesn't have the overwhelming rate of fire of the Mogami or torpedoes. So it's just really frustrating right now with cruisers. Anyway, we know that there's an enemy destroyer somewhere in the western flank. He is within 10 kilometers, but we cannot deal with him. We continue to fire on the enemy, and it looks like that Cleveland has come back to try and capture D. I believe the friendly destroyer is going to attempt to kill him. He's so low. He should, yes, good. He's engaging with his guns. Just kill him with your guns. It doesn't matter that it's going to take you a couple salvos. You can easily knock out a ship under 2K. So, we don't see the other enemy battleship, which we know is there. I believe it's a Tirpitz in a Colorado. That's a little scary. I could take him out. And I see this guy real low. I'm not going to let him just sit there. We got to fire on his position. But friendly finishes him off. Never mind. Enemy Alba, I just caught sight. Very low near the enemy base. So that's another easy kill. We've got the enemy Colorado, who is not looking at us. He is looking probably at the friendly cruiser. I am also greedy. And here we go again. The enemy carrier is sending the fleet again. 2 torpedo bomber squadrons, 2 dive bomber squadrons, and a fighter squadron. This is not good. And an enemy destroyer. Oh, crap. We gotta be careful. Okay, let's make sure we avoid as much damage as we can. First set of torpedoes. Come on, turn right. We're just a little too fat. Can we avoid this one? Oh, it's close. Yeah, okay, we're good. We're holding on to damage control. We don't want to use it quite yet. We want to see where the enemy destroyer sends his torpedoes. One set is completely off. Second set, completely off. Yes! We can use damage control. He cannot hit us with torpedoes. And it's a Mutsuki. The poor Mutsuki. Now, we gotta wait until the angles, we fire, and look at that dispersion. Oh, we did send our torpedoes. Perhaps they'll hit. Probably not. But it doesn't really hurt us that much to send out torpedoes. It causes him to maneuver. Friendlies finish him off. That was borderline insane, and we survived that. That's crazy. Wow. Okay. So we got 2 enemy battleships left in the area. We did take out, or at least our team took out, the enemy destroyer. So it's nice to know we don't have to deal with that. And we're taking fire from the enemies. Interesting. Did you see that? Probably nothing. So we fire on the enemy Colorado. Looks like he's going to take at least 1 torpedo. Yeah. Enemy Colorado. And yeah. Something weird just happened. I saw a fighter in the northwest sector. We're going to try and line up and finish off the Colorado. He's coming at us frontal. He doesn't have as much armor. And of course, we're going to take advantage. We've got to take him out before he fires at us. It's too dangerous to leave him up. In that scenario, he was going to burn down. But I need as much health as I can, because I have a sneaking suspicion that the enemy aircraft carrier is much closer than I think. I'm talking A1 is where he is. I think he's actually there. So we got this enemy Colorado, waterline shot. We got our back guns ready to go reloaded. We get a good dispersion. The first set falls short. It was very accurate except for distance. Second set, we get okay dispersion too. Maybe a little bit too high. Didn't hit the belt armor precisely. We do AK damage. Here are more torpedo bombers. They came from the northwest side, and it was relatively short. Yeah, this guy is really close, and this is kind of scary. We get another salvo off. Looks like, again, pretty good damage. He sends out his torpedoes. Hard right, hard right. We're able to completely avoid the first set. Dive bomber sets us on fire. The second set is on the left side. I know it. You got to keep track of these guys. And yep, enemy aircraft carrier. Can you believe he's there? Second set in the water. Hard left, hard left. And we're like, ooh, waterline shot. Let's fire the waterline shot. Screw our ship, okay? We get 23,000 points of damage. I'm like, what? I didn't hit a single torpedo. I was shocked. I was like, I went all in on that damage, and it paid off. We are very low. Our heel is about to come up. Use the heel, use the heel. We're going to take a broadside. This is too easy for him, but we had to dodge the torpedoes. Oh, barely alive. 2,000 hit points. Friendlies finish him off. And now we could go after the enemy aircraft carrier that has hounded my battleship the entire game. But he hasn't done anything. I think he hit me twice with torpedoes. That's it. 2 torpedoes and probably 3 dive bombers making contact. He did nothing because he kept going after me. Now we're going to try and dodge the torpedoes incoming. We can't take a torpedo. We don't have a heel. We're going to attempt to send out our torpedoes. We're going to allow him to commit to a direction. Our guns are almost up. We're going to fire a waterline shot. And we got HE loaded. We're going to try and set them on fire. And here come the torpedoes. Hard right, hard right. Looks like we're going to be able to avoid. Oh, just barely. The back one just barely. Oh, this guy. He has got to be so angry with me, okay? I've pulled off probably 7 complete avoidance of his torpedoes. We were able to burn him down. And just like that, the game is won. I hope you enjoyed this game. Just an insane amount of dodges. It was so fun just from that standpoint. There really should be something in the game that tracks your ability to avoid damage, because that was crazy. We did somewhere in the realm of 2,000 base XP, 2 kills, 2 citadel penetrations, 450,000 in credits. We did around 85,000 points of damage. Just a fantastic game. I hope you enjoyed it. Now I'm going to have what I did with the Soviet destroyers. I'm going to have the German cruisers after this game. Otherwise, have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time. Alright, that was an exciting game, right? Man, dodging everything. But here we are, the German cruisers. Now, everyone's excited for the German cruisers. I certainly am. Let's see if that excitement is warranted. First German cruiser, the Hermelin. We're gonna go Hermelin. Please, Germans, correct me. I don't feel bad if I pronounce these wrong. I don't know where the name origin is for most of these. I am familiar with some of them, like Dresden. Dresden's very familiar. But yeah, the Hermelin. Tier 1 gunboat. Looks like it comes from World War II. So it's probably going to be a better ship than the Tier 2 and 3. At least feel better. Very good speed for a Tier 1. It's got 128mm guns with a 12 round per minute. Yeah, this is pretty cool. This is exciting. It's got a nice weird box on the top. So, it's like a sub there, right? If this goes underwater, you can still see and command your troops. It's got nice, clean red boats. I really love the design of the Soviet destroyers, and I really am into the German cruisers. Germans gotta keep your stuff cleaner though. There's a lot of rust, there's a lot of mineral buildup. And yeah, that's the Tier 1. It looks rather big to me for a Tier 1, so maybe that will make it a challenge to play. But overall, yeah, it looks fun. On to Tier 2. The Dresden. The Dresden looks World War I, pre-World War I, and it looks crappy, okay? It looks like a St. Louis. Probably plays like a St. Louis, so if it plays like a St. Louis, then it'll be fun. A lot of guns. The hull upgrade gives you more. And when I upgrade the hull, the rudder shift goes down. Good. The rudder shift, the default rudder shift, is extremely bad on the German cruisers. That's what I see. Compared to all the other nations, the rudder shift is where they give up a lot. And they don't have the armor that I would expect to deal with it. Their Citadel on this ship is garbage. Wow. 9mm on the Citadel. The armored deck is 50mm. Where is it 50mm? What were they afraid of? Okay. Man, just get up alongside this and fire at the waterline. Main battery 105mm. Yeah, that's not good. AA's garbage. Max speed 25 knots. Barely a knot. You gain a knot from the previous tier. Okay. Whatever. That's the Dresden, Tier 2. Not, you're not going to have this ship that long, and you're not going to really keep it, I don't think. Tier 3, the Coburg. The Coburg looks like the Dresden with more armor. And it looks like it has just slightly more armor across the board, about 1mm more. The armored deck is insanely armored. Just, wow. It was all about countering plunging fire. Wow. Okay. Just, waterline shot this bad boy, and he's gonna go down quick. Concealment, it's alright. Rudder shift, 7.5 seconds. The hull upgrade, I think you want to get the hull upgrade first on all the Germans so far that I've seen. It's more important than anything else. It doesn't have torpedoes, but it doesn't need torpedoes. It's a Tier 3. It's a tier that you'll play and forget, most likely. And the guns get better rate of fire, do the same amount of damage as previous. Rotation's pretty insignificant considering they are side mounted and you only have access to about half of them. So yeah, that's the Coburg. Tier 4, the Karlsruhe. Let's go with Karl. The Karl. I love that. I got a Karl. So the Karl has turrets, single gun turrets, and it doesn't look like... So it looks like it has 4 in the front with 2 in the back. Where are the other 2? It says it has 8 guns total. So maybe they're considering these main guns. That's weird. Oh, no, there. Okay, there they are. Okay, so 4 in the front, 4 in the back. Looks like you won't have access to 2 guns if you are facing one direction. This German cruiser gets torpedoes. Now the torpedoes have a very short range. Default is 4 kilometers, upgrade is 6. That's still really crappy when you are visible at 10 kilometers. Rudder shift default, not good. But whenever you upgrade the hull, the rudder shift becomes manageable. So get that hull upgrade. Range on the guns. The range on the guns are alright. It's about 1-to-1 with your detectability. So if you're detected, they can see you, you could fire on them. So, okay, yeah. The Karl. Yeah, it's the Karl. On to the Tier 5. Now we're starting to get into the identity of the tier. This has turrets, 3 turrets, and there's one unique thing about this ship. You can kind of see it. It's a little cockeyed, isn't it? Yeah, especially those turrets. Yeah, they're not center aligned. You're going to have to deal with slightly different angling, slightly different range on your guns, whether you're aimed port or starboard. What a weird, unique mechanic. It's, yeah, I don't understand that. I'm not a shipbuilder, so the logic is not there for me. That why would you give up a gun battery accuracy to have them off-centered? You kind of slightly have to change your aiming point for both. But yeah, 150 millimeter guns, so they upgun, do slightly more damage, 8 rounds per minute, not that good. Rudder shift, 9.7 again, gets down to 6.9, cool. Get that hull upgrade. It seems to be the biggest weakness of the German cruiser line. AA's garbage, just bad. It slightly gets updated with a little bit more, but it's just not. It's, you know, it's early tier. It doesn't look like it has an aircraft. Maybe the hull upgrade has the aircraft, but if you don't have an aircraft at tier 5, that's not good, because you're starting to see enemy cruisers, both Japanese and American, have the aircraft, and there's a lot of extra value there, obviously. And then of course you have the Russian premium that has the extra aircraft. So I hope, and I don't see it adding the aircraft, so that's going to be interesting weakness. Concealment, garbage. But the range on the guns is extremely farther than the previous tier, so you have about 3 kilometers to work with. So, okay. She looks pretty cool. Again, her hull is super rusted. Her turrets look immaculate. I don't understand this design. You can just see it's like the turrets did not exist on the ship before it got super dirty, and I don't believe that's what happened. But yeah, that's the Königsberg, the tier 5 German cruiser. Now we're on to what actually counts, ranked play and on. The tier 6 Nürnberg. The Nürnberg is a cruiser with a fighter. Woohoo! Default rudder shift 10.6. Hull upgrade rudder shift 7.6. Wow. Is it becoming blatantly obvious that the hull is super important for Germans? Like, I can't think of another fleet where the hull is this important. It's giving you just so much. Again, 6 kilometer range on torpedoes. Ugh, just not good. Range on the guns comparable to the previous tier, 150 millimeter. Does about the same amount of damage, a little bit better rate of fire. Everything you should expect when you go up a tier. Maybe it'll be good. It has center aligned turrets, yay! But is it the Cleveland? Is it the Alba? You know, we'll have to see. Right now, it looks like you need to be able to aim effectively with a rate of fire 10 rounds per minute. You're looking at 6 seconds, right? 10 rounds per minute. 6-second reload. That's pretty fast, actually. If that's the correct math, I hope it is. Yeah, I think it is. 10 rounds per minute, 6-second reload. What's the Cleveland? The Cleveland is obviously fantastic. I still have it. We've got 7.5 rounds. It has better rate of fire. Wow. It does less damage with HE. It does more damage or comparable damage with AP. That's cool. That is very cool. This might actually be a better tier 6 than the Cleveland. Can you imagine? Wow. It does, yeah, the AP slightly less damage. HE does a way less damage. Wow. You're giving up a lot of damage if you use HE on this compared to the Cleveland. 600 points of damage. But yeah, that rate of fire is insane. This ship looks cool. The Nürnberg. Okay, the Nürnberg. Let's go to the next one. The tier 7. The York. It's York to me. American. York. It's York. If it's not York, just tell me. The York has 210 millimeter guns, with a rate of fire of 5 rounds per minute. So a little over 12 seconds, I believe, if I'm doing my math correct. Or 12 seconds exactly. Yes, 12 seconds exactly. So 12-second reload on the main guns, and you got 4 turrets with total 8 guns. That's okay. That's about a little bit faster than the Pensacola, and a little bit faster than the Japanese. I think the Japanese, the Myoko was nerfed. The rate of fire was 11 seconds, and maybe it went up. But yeah, they're very close. They're very close. It's not as extreme as the Tier 6 was, the Nerdberg, but it's still, you know, it has everything else. Torpedoes with crappy range. You have AA, which is, you know, pretty good. Hull upgrade, necessary. Rudder shift is crappy without the hull upgrade. Gotta get it. AA is pretty good. It's got pretty good health, I say. Tier 7, 3260. And the US Tier 7 will get up to 3430. Okay, so it has a little bit more, but look at this guy. He's so big. So, okay. The German Tier 7. The York. Let's go to the Tier 8. The Admiral Hipper. Hope it's that. The Admiral Hipper is 203 millimeter with a 4.6 round per minute. Not spectacular. I believe that's exactly the same as the US. If it isn't, it's very close. Let's look at the New Orleans. We got 4.3. Ooh, just a hair slower. And these are like 13.5. So you've got a little bit more rate of fire. But you've got, I think, less armor, slower rudder shift. This is like Battleship rudder shift. Upgrade takes it down to 10. Good. It needs to be faster than 15 seconds. AA, pretty good. Torpedoes, you know, all that stuff. It's got a fighter. It's got a 109, I think. Yeah, it looks like a 109. Yeah, it's a 109. So, yeah. The German Tier 8. I think... I don't think this will be quite as wanted as the Tier... What was it? The Tier 6. Yeah, the Tier 6 seems insane to me. Tier 7, it feels alright. It feels right in the average. Tier 8 feels alright. Looks alright. Rudder shift's garbage. Gotta get the hull upgrade. Gotta get the hull upgrade. Get the hull upgrade. You know, when you're in a German cruiser, get the hull upgrade. Let's go to the Tier 9. The Rune. Hopefully it's Rune. And the Rune, 203. Rate of fire of 5 rounds per minute. So 12-second reload. So that's alright. We've got tons of secondaries. 3 turrets with 3 guns each. It's got an aircraft that is not a fighter. It looks like it's a scout plane. Maybe you could swap it. I'm not familiar with that type of ship. Or aircraft, sorry. It's got the red boats. I like the red boats. Rudder shift, 16 seconds. Wow, that's bad. Hull upgrade. Oh, you gotta get the hull upgrade. AA, of course, goes up with the hull upgrade. Becomes actually good. Survivability goes way up. Way up. This is a Tier 9, 4950. 49,500. What is the Baltimore? The Baltimore goes up to 42. Yeah, wow. 7,000 hit points increase. That's pretty insane. And I'm certain it is much better than the Ibuki. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the German cruisers are fitting in between the established cruisers, the US, and the Japanese, and battleships. So that might say that they are a a good target to go after if you don't have a battleship to go after. As a torpedo. Rudder shift, yeah. Hull upgrade, hull upgrade, hull upgrade. Developers, developers, developers. The Rune, Tier 9. Let's get to the Tier 10. The Hindenburg. Couldn't have been a more interesting name. I certainly will be interested to hear all of the down jokes. Because as a Tier 10, you gotta be top tier. If you don't, you're gonna hear about how much you suck. We've all been there. We've all had to deal with it. It's got 4 turrets with 3 guns each. So 12 total turrets. 12 total guns. 12 total turrets, that would be funny. It doesn't get any faster rate of fire. It just gets an extra turret. Okay. I don't know if I like that. It's an upgrade to the Rune, obviously, with 3 more guns to use potentially. The rudder shift, 12.1 second. Eek. No way to upgrade that. That's gonna be not fun to use. Speed, 32 knots. So it's faster than battleships, but it's not as fast as other cruisers. Torpedo range, 6 kilometers. Wow. Okay. Hindenburg. Okay. 5190. Well, that's pretty cool. So if we directly compare the Hindenburg to the Des Moines, because they're basically the same ship, the Des Moines has 3 turrets with 9 guns each at a rate of fire of 10 rounds per minute. So every minute they are doing 90 guns going out. Their guns actually do slightly more damage than the German guns, it looks like. Rudder shift is half of the Hindenburg. Wow. When you say it like that, right? You say it out loud, you're like, what? Half? Yes, 8.6 is the rudder shift. It can turn its rudder in half the time that it takes the the Hindenburg to react. Ugh. Wow. I don't know. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a challenge. So, Tier 6, they might need to adjust some numbers of all the other cruisers. But that's the German cruisers. I'm interested to see. Okay, so 4 seconds. It gives up 4 seconds, not half. 4 seconds. Okay. That's still really crappy. That's a lot of extra time for not a lot of gain. We got to see the hidden stats, the velocity. We got to see all of that to see if it's actually worth it to use these ships in competitive. I definitely will work through the entire line. I hope you do too. I certainly will share any tips I learn along the way. I hope you enjoyed this preview of all the ships. I really enjoy the way they look though. They got all these like droid balls everywhere. They look cool, man. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna share a bunch of games with all of you, of course. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.